Hello students, today we are going to see the beginning of graphs, one-dimensional graphs, and what are the things we can conclude or we can find out from the graph or we can interpret from the graph. So before I start the graph, I have just two small concepts which I want to share with you regarding the equation of motion. I have been asked by many students, sir, what about the equation of motions which are v equal to u plus at and the one which is v square minus u square equal to twice of as. See, the importance of s equal to ut plus half at square is very big, correct? Because this gives a time and this gives a this equation gives a time in a quadratic form. So you always get two roots. So long your root of time, so long the root is positive and one root is negative and one root is positive, that means one time is positive and another time is negative, you have no big issues, correct? But the problems, the concept becomes multifold when you get both the times as positive. Then what exactly happens when both the times are positive? That is very interesting. If you do the questions of overtaking, the last one, those who have done it properly, you might have got two times which are positive. What does it mean? It means there is two overtaking happening, correct? So when first this, so suppose if this is the car, so this will overtake this and then this will also overtake in future. So suppose if I say car A will first overtake B, then B will again overtake A in future. That is the meaning of two times being positive in overtaking problems, okay? But for equations like v equal to u plus at, v equal to u plus at is a very simple linear equation, okay? So of course you have to use it in situations where you have to find velocities and time is known to you and acceleration is known to you. So it is used to find v equal to u plus at is used to find the velocity at any given time t, and if acceleration is known to you. If the body is under gravity or under free fall, then the value of a will be equal to minus of g, and that will give you the value of velocity. In all those questions, remember on all those questions where we have discussed a ball is dropped from a certain height, a ball is thrown from a certain height, a ball is thrown down from a certain height, it strikes the ground after how much time. In all those questions you have found time, correct? In though if I put those values of time t in these equations and the value of a as minus of g, remember what we will get? We will get the velocity of impact with the ground. We are going to get the velocity with which it is going to hit the ground. So it has its own importance, okay? But always ensure that the value of u which you are putting it very correctly. So for a body which is thrown up, your u is positive. If u is positive and then it goes here, and then we know how to find time. So once you put this value of time over here, the value of a as minus of g and the value of u which you are going to put here must be positive. So in this case you have to put positive. What about this one? In this one, if the body is thrown down, the value of u which you are going to put here will be negative. But before that you have to find time. And how will you find time? You will find time using the equation of h equal to ut minus half gt square, okay? So this also has a very great importance in life. Similarly, if I talk about the overtaking problem, they may ask you that what is the velocity at the time of overtaking. So first you have found the value of time, the time at which the overtaking is taking place. So with that time you can put the value of time over here and the acceleration of car A, or you can say car B. So if you use car A acceleration and car A initial velocity, you get the value of velocity at the time of overtaking. If you put the acceleration of car B and the initial velocity of car B, you will find the velocity of car B at the time of overtaking. So it has its own importance. Okay. The two questions which I wanted to discuss now is the questions like this, which they discuss, or which definitely you will come across if you start solving numericals. Say that from the top of a tower, I am having two objects are taken over here, object 1 and object 2. So this is object A and this is object B. Now this is how the situation is. So let us say that the object B is thrown up first. So it goes up and then comes back on the ground. Okay. As soon as I throw up object B, I waited for some time. Basically this question comes on the time delay. So after throwing object B up with a velocity of u, I waited for some time and then I throw the object A downward. So let us say if I consider this to be as u1, consider this to be as u2. Or they may say it is dropped also. If it is dropped, the initial velocity for A will become 0. Now the question will put a condition to you. The condition is this, that B is thrown first. After some time, that time might be given to you 2 seconds, 1 second. After some time, A is thrown down, and then they will put some condition that both will reach simultaneously, or what should be the height so that both will reach simultaneously, or height will be given to you. They may ask you what should be the time delay so that both will reach the height, will reach the ground simultaneously. So the whole idea is, yes, they are going to reach the ground simultaneously, or they may ask you what is the separation between them in mid-air. All those things you can ask. So let us say how we are going to write the equation here. So if I have to write for B, the displacement of B will be equal to, and then I will write the displacement of A. Now for displacement of B, remember B was the one which was thrown first. So here I will write U1 because it is thrown upward. U1t minus half g times of t square. Displacement of B will be equal to, now this U2 is thrown down, so I will write minus U2 times of t. Okay, this is for object B. And then you have to incorporate the time lag. So let us say the small k is my time lag. So ut minus half g t square. What does it mean? It means that if the first body is taking some, let us say 8 seconds, and then you are giving a time delay of 2 seconds, then definitely the second body, if they are reaching the ground simultaneously, that means definitely the second body is taking 8 seconds. So that is what we are talking about here. So if the first body takes 10 seconds to reach here, and then you waited for 2 seconds and then you chuck the second body, and if the question says that both are reaching simultaneously, that means definitely the second body has taken 8 seconds, am I right? So that means 10 minus 2 seconds. So the time taken by the first body minus the delay is the time for the second body for its motion. Now if they ask you what is the separation at any given time, you can just subtract these two, or if I go with this question, both will reach simultaneously. So if they are reaching the ground simultaneously, then for both of them you will have minus h and minus h if this height is h. Now how do we solve it? If it is minus h and minus h, that means my right hand side is same for these two equations. That obviously means that left hand side will be also same. So since the RHS is same, so my LHS will be equal to u1t minus half gt square equals to, see I'm equating them when I'm supposed to get the question correct. I have to equate them when both of them reaches the ground simultaneously. That means both of them has undergone the same displacement. So in that case, minus h and minus h will remain same. So uit minus half gt square equals to minus u2t minus k minus half g t minus k the whole square. And then you have to expand this term. Okay. You can take the value of GS10, do it slowly, and you will find that the answer slowly comes up. Okay? Don't get panic. It looks big. See, the only problem in class 11 science is things looks big, and it is big. Okay, there is no way out. There is no shortcut. So the sooner you accept the fact that it's an interesting subject, and you have to give more effort in order to understand this, things becomes easier and easier. Okay, another question which I wanted to discuss. So this is the time delay question. So the another question which I wanted to discuss now is the collision. Sometimes they do collide. So how to do the questions based on collision? So suppose if you have a body over here, let us say there is one body here and there's another body here, and I can say like this, that this is being dropped, thrown above, whatever it is. You can make it throw up also, so it may go up. Then while it is coming down, it will go and hit it. Okay. So I will make it go up. Okay, so this is my A ball and this is my B ball. So this is the velocity of A and this is the velocity of B. Now the question here is the collide, correct? And the question will, if they collide, now this is what you have to do. If they collide, they will collide here. So you consider that this one has traveled a distance of x from the ground. You say that B has traveled a distance of x. So definitely A has undergone a displacement of minus. Why minus? Because for A, from here it has gone down. From here it has gone down. So minus of h minus x equals to, the initial velocity was upward, uat minus of half g t square. And what about your x? X is for ub. So ub has to be thrown up. Ubt minus of half times of g into t square. Now here one thing you have to remember, that ub, the second body will be always thrown up. You have to throw this up. The second body which is thrown from the ground will always look like this. For the first one, the questions may vary from question to question. Now here I am saying that it is thrown up. Thrown up. So UA positive. If I say thrown down, that means this will become negative, minus UA. If I say the body is dropped, that means this term becomes 0. This term becomes 0. And then you have to put this value of x here in this equation. So how it will look like? It will look like this. I mean, you can do that. Okay, so minus of x. So minus of x. So this is your h minus x, and what is x? X is this ubt minus half gt square, bracket close, equals to uat minus half gt square. So this is minus h minus x. This is your x here from second equation to the first equation, and then you have to solve. Okay. Sometimes they will ask you height, sometimes they will give you time, they will ask you height, they will give you height, they will ask you time, but starting equation remains same. Okay? Okay. That's it. So we will start the graph. In graph, why do we have to study graph? See, when a motion takes place, right, it may be I have some liberty to take a note of the motion. Now, depending upon my liberty, whether I am noting down the position and the time, that means where is the particle at how much time. So, suppose if a particle is going and I am supposed to track it, let us say it started from somewhere in Delhi, after 2 hours it might have reached UP, and I'm just exaggerating. Then after another 6 hours it might be at the border of Bihar, then from there it might have gone to Orissa or something. So if I know the way this journey is taking place, I can always plot it, correct? Now how plotting helps us is another question. So once you have plotted with the known facts, then we can assume that, okay, seeing this pattern, what would have happened? It would have continued the journey. For example, you have a data or a record. Let us say you have started recording your body's movement up to 10 seconds only. So you have the record of first second, seconds, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10. So for 10 seconds, you have recorded the position. If I assume that, okay, this is how the graph looks like, and then if I make an assumption that, okay, let us say it continues with the same parameters, it continues with the same physical movement, okay, that means I can interpret what would have been the displacement in the 11th second by extrapolating the graph. Or if I know where it is at 1 second, I don't know where it is at 1.5 second, but I know where it is at 2 seconds. That means again I can make some assumption that, okay, at 1.5 second the body might be here. So if I know over a scattered quantities that here, the body is present, I don't know beyond this. I can find it using graph. Or I don't know in between these two time where it could be. So still I can find. Assuming that it is not changing its behavior. Okay, that is very important. For example, we are going to study graph into three segments. I write this as X, is more famous known as displacement time graph. It is distance time graph or displacement time graph. I will tell you the differences also. So we are going to study displacement time graph, then we are going to study the velocity time graph, and then we are going to study the acceleration time graph. And we will also see in very in a quick manner, we will also see the expression of A versus S graph also. Okay, so in the first class we are going to start with the value of xt graph, it is displacement time graph. So these are the things which will come up slowly and slowly. But right now let us start with displacement and time graph. Our time is always plotted along the x-axis, okay, and the displacement is plotted along the y-axis. So consider that this is my displacement. So this is my displacement being plotted along the y-axis and distance being plotted along the x-axis. Now if I say that at time t equal to 1 second, at 2 second, at 3 second, at 4 second, whenever I see the object was always found to be at some distance, let us say called 5 meter. That means at 1 second also the body is at 5 meter, at 2 second also the body is at 5 meter, at 3 second also the body is at 5 meter, at 4 second also the body is at 5 meter. That means the body has never moved from 5 meter position. So we call that this kind of displacement time graph. This kind of displacement time graph is for stationary object which is stationary at 5 meter. It can be stationary at 0 also, then the graph would have looked like this. That means it have gone over the x-axis. It could have been stationed at 2.5, so it would have gone somewhere here. So right now it is stationed at 5 meters, so it is not moving. So this is the kind of body, this is the kind of graph we call this is for stationary body. A body which is at rest. Stationary body or body at rest. So when a body is at rest, this is how the displacement time graph looks like. Okay. Now let us say the body starts moving. Now if the body starts moving, there are two ways the body can move. A body can move with uniform velocity, let us say 2 meters per second, and throughout the entire journey it remains as 2 meters per second. Or the body may move with accelerated motion. That means its velocity keeps on increasing. From 2 to it becomes 3, 3 it becomes 4, and so on. So we will first see the uniform motion. So uniform motion means velocity is constant. And for our understanding, let us consider that constant velocity is 5 meters per second. It can be anything. So we call this thing as uniform motion. Uniform motion. A body moving with uniform motion. How does the graph looks like? If I consider that this is time t. In uniform motion, if velocity is constant, remember acceleration has to become 0. That is the meaning of constant velocity. Velocity is not changing. Definitely acceleration has to be 0 because that is the class 9 concept. Acceleration is change in velocity by time. If the velocity is not changing, that means my acceleration is 0. Okay. So we call this as uniform motion. So for uniform motion, if I have to plot distance versus time over here, let us say at time t equal to 0, body is at 0. At time t equal to 1, distance. Okay, I am going to use the velocity of distance equals to velocity times time. Velocity into time. So at time t equal to 0, my x is equal to 0. At time t equal to 1, what is my velocity? Remember, velocity is 5. So this is 5 into 1, this is 5. So when this is 2, this becomes 10. When this is 3, it becomes 15. When this is 4, it becomes 20. You can see that it is always increasing at a uniform rate. It is always increasing at a uniform rate. From 0 it becomes 5, from 5 it becomes 10, from 10 it becomes 15, from 15 it becomes 20. So how does the graph look like? The graph will look like this. So, okay, you may be thinking, how do you know it looks like this? I am sorry. So let us say at 1 second it looks 5 over here. I am just using this much of space. So this is my 5 centimeter, okay? Bingo. This is 5. This is 10. This is 15. This is 20. Okay. And over here, this one is my 1 second. So this is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. 4 seconds. So first point is this one. Second point is this one. Third point is this one. Fourth point is this one. Sorry. So if I join these points, what I am going to get? I am going to get a straight line. So if this is my displacement time graph, and if it is a uniform motion, that means the velocity is constant, the graph will be a straight inclined line. It will be an inclined line. Now try to recall class 10. Class 10 was very important of the life. Class 10 maths. Y versus x graph. A graph is given to you. There are two coordinates over here. x1, y1, x2, y2. How will you find the slope? The slope is equal to x2 minus x. The slope formula was, if you remember, it was y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And this slope was also known as tan of theta, where this theta is the angle made by the straight line. Okay. And in some books they also called rise by run. How much it goes up and how much it goes in this direction, run. So basically this one is your y2 minus y1 and this one is your x2 minus x1. So perpendicular divided by base, and obviously it should give you the value of tan theta. Okay. What if I am plotting displacement here? And here I am plotting as time. And if I take 2 points, so how does a coordinate look like? Now coordinate is displacement. Displacement I am using as x, and my x coordinate is time. Now remember, when we write coordinate, we write in terms of x, y coordinate, correct? x1, y1, x2, y2. So if I write here, let us say that this point is t1, x1, and this is your t2, x2. These are the 2 points. So if I have to now find, this is your x coordinate. So this will be your x2 minus x1, and this will be your t2 minus t1. So in this case, if I have to find the value of tan theta, that means the slope. I just rub this for a moment. So in this case, if I have to find the value of slope, that is equal to tan theta, I will use the formula of perpendicular divided by base. Now my perpendicular is x2 minus x1, that is the displacement, divided by t2 minus t1, and that's nothing but equal to change in position divided by time taken. And this, by basic definition, see what I'm going to do right now is this. I'm going to relate. What we are learning is a maths. Slope is a mathematical term. Tan theta is a mathematical term. How math is going to benefit us? Now what you have got? You have got a slope. As per maths, you have found the slope. But this slope has a physical name in this case. In this case, it has a physical name because you are doing change in position by time, and by definition, change in position by time is nothing but velocity. So, what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that if a displacement time graph is given to you, then if I have to find the velocity of this, then velocity can be found out by finding the slope. And to find the slope, it's always perpendicular divided by base. This is my perpendicular and this is my base. Or stick to the formula which was taught to you. That means x divided by change in y divided by change in x. That is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay. So that is the uniform velocity. What if the body is now accelerating? The body is going up. If the body is accelerating, we call that as uniform acceleration. Okay. I am going to draw the graph, but before that, just let me tell you this part. Then it will be very easy for you to understand why the uniform accelerated graph looks like this. So the one which I am going to draw here is accelerated graph. This is accelerated. Now just imagine I have a velocity time graph. Sorry, displacement time graph. For the first second, do you remember this displacement time graph? Displacement time graph is a straight line. So let us say it's a straight line. Slope. Let us say that the body is moving with 2 meters per second uniform velocity for the first 1 second. So for the very first, that means from 0 to 1 second. From 0 to 1 second, it was bang on at 1 meter per second. No change. Then from 1 second, it started moving with 2 meters per second. So 1 meter per second, the slope is velocity. If this is slope, this is also slope, this is also slope. These are all slopes. This is slope, correct? This is also slope. This is also slope. Which one has more slope? Out of these three graphs, which one will have more slope? Third one will have more slope, correct? Slope means how much steeper it is. One has the least slope. So if I have to compare 1 meter per second, if I consider that from here to here, let us say from here to here is 1 second and the speed was 1 meter per second, then from 1 second to 2 seconds the speed has increased. So this becomes 2 meter per second. This is another 2 seconds. In the third second he decided to move with 3 meter per second. So it's 3 meter per second. Can you see the slope? Can you see the slope? Slope is increasing. That means when a body is moving in such a way that gradually its speed increases, we are talking about uniform acceleration, accelerated motion. When a body motion is accelerated, that means when the speed is gradually increasing, the graph of displacement versus time for a uniform acceleration looks like this. It means that the slope over here, the slope is becoming steeper and steeper and steeper. This is the case when the body is moving with accelerated motion. That means its velocity is continuously increasing. What about deaccelerated motion? That means the body is moving and suddenly it starts applying a brake. Okay. So if a body is moving under deacceleration, retardation, so if this is my displacement versus time graph. So here if you can see the slope, look at the steepness. It is becoming flatter and flatter, correct? Okay. Slope means if you have ever climbed a mountain, slope is something to do with the steep. How steeper the climb is, correct? So this gradually flattens. So the climbing this mountain is easier than climbing this mountain from this side. Okay. So here the slope increases. Here the slope decreases. So this is deacceleration motion. That means the velocity will keep on decreasing. So if I consider that this is just, for example, I am just giving a rough example. 5 meter per second, and this becomes 4 meter per second, and this becomes 3 meter per second, and this becomes 2 meter per second, and this becomes 1 meter per second, and so on. So this is how the velocity is decreasing, but remember this is a displacement time graph. So in a displacement time graph, the graph looks like this. And here if I say 5 meter per second, then this becomes 6 meter per second. It's gradually increasing, 7 meter per second, and this is your 8 meter per second. So here the velocity keeps on increasing. So this is displacement time graph. The graph looks like this. This is displaced accelerated motion. The graph looks like this. Can you tell me what is happening here in this particular case? To understand this, you have to first understand this part. If I ask you one question that if this is a y versus x graph and the two coordinates are given to you, will it be correct if for me to say that the slope is negative here? This has a negative slope. That means when you take 2 points over here, and if you use the formula of y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, you are going to get a negative value. This slope is negative. First make sure you know this. Okay? You can refer to class 10 mathematics book and you can see that this slope is negative. This slope is positive. These slopes are positive. In physics I will make it very simple. This graph which has, these are all positive slopes. This one, they are all negative slopes. These are all negative slopes, these are all positive slopes. As simple as that. Now suppose, this is the question which I was looking for. So suppose if this is my displacement time graph. If this is my displacement time graph. And displacement time graph, let us say it looks like this. Now if you see here, if I draw the slopes over here, just imagine the slopes over here. What is happening to the slope? First of all, the slope is negative. Look at this segment. Look at this segment. Look at this segment. Okay, 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 okay. It's becoming more steeper, correct? But negative. So this means that velocity is negative. Velocity is negative. What does negative velocity means? Negative velocity in physics means moving in the opposite direction. But what is happening to its magnitude? For example, if I say that this is minus 5 meter per second, then this will become minus 6 meter per second, then it will become minus 7 meter per second, because the slope is increasing. Correct? The slope is increasing. So negative, fantastic, but magnitude wise it is increasing. Okay? So the magnitude of V is increasing. This last one you have to understand very carefully. Why I am saying this? Because I want you to practice or to research a question. Definitely I will discuss in my next class. I want you to think about how does a velocity time graph, sorry, my point, how does the displacement time graph looks like for this. That means a body is thrown up, goes into the air, reaches the maximum height, and then starts coming back. So from the ground, this is my ground, it has gone up and then it has come down. How does the displacement time graph looks like for the entire journey? Okay, with this I end my class, and with this I will start my next class also. Thank you for watching.